goes through whatever it has to go through, it'll already be 10 o'clock. I mean, 3 o'clock. Bring it down. Yeah. Let me know when you're starting. So just let me know when you can hear me.
Mhm. I can hear
You heard me?
I heard you.
Oh, I'm here. Okay. All right. Thank goodness we're back. So thank you for showing up again. And this is going to be what we're going to be working on. As you can see, I already did the drawing. Now, before I go ahead, let me tell you what I am painting on, the surface. And the surface is this. This is, oh, got dark there. Okay, the surface is the Strathmore board. I don't know why it's going dark whenever I put this board up in front of me, but, or maybe I'm blocking the light. Yeah, I guess so. So, or the white, I don't know. But this is a very, very thick board. I don't know if you can see this. You can probably see it here more. Um, it's very thick, right? You can see if I, oops, hit the camera there. If I put my finger on this, it's pretty thick, and I'm right up on the camera. So this is Strathmore illustration board.
Yeah, I saw the thickness.
You saw the thickness, and I forgot what ply, but it's very thick. So it's about like a 4 ply or something like that. And so that's what I have taped onto my board that I drew on here. Now, before I go ahead and start painting and we working from this image here, I thought I might share something. I was thinking about, and I talked with my wife Karen about this. Say hi, Karen.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. I said, wouldn't it be neat if I had something more to share with you guys in regards to things that we can conversate about? And so I thought about different books that I read on different artists and stuff like that, so that it would be art would be the topic of conversation, and that would be just one more thing that I can share to add to the value in this live stream. So I thought that, you know what would be a great thing to start off with would be to talk about where I got my background in my education and the instructor that I had. Okay, so I'm going to let me go ahead and arrange this right now. I'm going to get rid of this image, and I'm going to get rid of the where is it? The video capture device. Okay, is it this one? No, it's this one. Here we go. Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, hold on. No,
You can't hear me now?
no.
Okay, you should.
Yeah, now.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. We had a problem with, I forgot if I turned off the camera over here that the audio is attached to that. So anyway, we're back. Okay. So I was saying that I went to the High School of Art and Design, and I had a few instructors there. The two most influential on me are first and foremost Irwin Greenberg and Max Ginsberg. Um, Irwin Greenberg is the artist that you see here, and we used to call him Greenie, like the students in the class. And what Max and Greenie did was they set up an early morning painting class where I would leave home, and this was high school, at 5 in the morning, get down to the school in Midtown Manhattan. I lived in one of the outer boroughs in the Bronx, and meet in front of the school before the school opened. We were able to get inside the school. The janitors or the custodial people would let us in and sit down in a class where a model would pose pretty much like this here. A model would pose and we would paint from that model and up until school started. And we would paint in oils and Max and Greenie would show us how to do this, or we would paint in watercolors. Greenie was particularly good at watercolor and we just paint, you know. And it was called the Old Hats Club because back then um, there was more of a move towards modern art, and this type of painting was frowned upon. It said it was old hat and nobody paints like that anymore. We wanted to paint like this, and so that's what we did. This was one of the paintings that Greenie did. This is another one he did, again in oils. Both of those was in oils. This one at least is in color. And this is a watercolor that he did. Of This is somewhere in Manhattan with the elevated trains here and stuff like that. And this is his watercolor technique. He would paint on Bristol board where he was able to wipe away some of the lighter colors. And, you know, like you see those dark colors, they have some light areas that were wiped away with just water. And the Bristol board was a very smooth board that allowed him to do that. So, and here is one last one. This is painting a watercolor in much the same way, you know. And I was taught by Greenie and Max in painting and drawing from life, from the model, and um, and that's how I learned. That's how I learned. Um, and I just wanted to share with you because he was very influential. And I'm going to start this painting now. Before I do, I just want to share with you. This is a quick sketch I did before we started because there are a lot of ways to get lost in here as far as detail is concerned. So I did this quick sketch to remind me of the major darks and lights, and I want to follow and the patterns of it, and I want to follow more closely to this. Now this sketch took me like what, half a minute?
Yes.
Half a minute. It didn't take a long time to do. So this is just to remind me that I don't need to get too lost into all those details. And I'm tempted to do just that, you know. And you can see by my drawing that I've already started doing a bit of that, you know. So I don't want to get lost in that because then I might dig myself a hole that I can't come out of, or would make it too difficult for me to come out of right away. So I'm going to try to look for those shapes and really avoid the trap of getting into all of these little details right here, which I should have thought about before I did this very careful pencil outline.
Okay. Well, people are chiming in,
Okay.
and we have Kumar with us.
Kumar.
He says hi. Hey guys.
Okay.
We have Mr. Axbane. He says hi
Hey.
to me and you.
Okay.
Okay. And Kumar had indicated that he can't find the exact board in India, and it's always out of stock. Can you suggest some alternative?
Wow.
The board you showed earlier, remember?
Strathmore illustration board.
Uh-huh.
I really don't know how to get these things internationally, other than maybe trying Amazon. Just get Strathmore illustration boards. Um, uh, if Kumar, if I can find that link at some other time, um, I mean, Karen wouldn't know how to search it right now. Uh, um, I would include it Well, you know what? I will try and message you within YouTube and see if I could get that to you. But other than that, off the top of my head, I am not too sure how one would get a hold of those things outside of the U.S. Because I mean that's where I'm confined to as far as my information is concerned.
Okay. Okay. Well, Mr. Axbrain is still with us.
Okay.
And like I said, he has said hello. He said, "Hey, Gil. Hi, folks. Hi, Karen." Okay, we have Maritza with us.
Maritza is early again. It's good to have you.
Yeah, she said, "Hola,
Hola.
hola." Yeah, and CD Sketch is with us too.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah, and he says hello.
Hi. Okay. So I
Yeah.
hope you guys are working. I hope you guys are doing some drawing today. I'm trying to get the shapes. I'm trying to focus on shapes here and and not get lost into the details. So I'm almost avoiding some of what I had put on already, avoiding letting that being a trap for me. Okay. And so, as I was saying, I really had I lucked out on the experience I had in high school because, as a matter of fact, both of the instructors I had worked in the illustration field. And Max continued to work as an illustrator. You can even look him up, Max Ginsberg, and you will find a lot of his work online. As a matter of fact, there's a publisher. I was talking to him a little while ago on my Facebook page, Daniel Zimmer. He publishes a magazine called Illustration here in the United States. Great magazine. And it's about illustrators, and he also publishes a great deal of books, some of which I have behind me over here. And I was talking with him, and he was well aware of Max Ginsberg and was actually uh, was thinking about. He told me he was thinking about approaching him for an article in his magazine on illustration. So we got to talking because Max has actually is celebrating his 90th birthday, and
Wow.
for that birthday, he posted a video somewhere here on YouTube about his father, Abraham Ginsberg, who was also an illustrator and a really great painter. I mean, I had no idea how great a painter he was, and it was no wonder Max was able to be so successful as an illustrator and as a fine artist because his father was a terrific painter himself. So his father was his first teacher. Um, right. So I lucked out, as I said, on having these two instructors because they were so good. They were so good. They knew their craft and they taught it to us. Um, and there are a whole bunch of really great artists that came from their classes and who had gone on, some to some very successful careers, some in the comic book industry, some as illustrators, and some as fine artists, and some as teachers. You know, so and in just so many areas, they were able to influence people who keep on influencing people today. you know. So,
So let me tell you what Mr. Axbane had said.
okay.
He's saying he's just relaxing. I believe you had uh, invited people to draw along with you.
Oh, okay.
Right. He says just relaxing. Did some chores today, including giving my dog a bath. And
Oh,
he said, and but I'm going to work on the oil painting later today. I hope maybe sooner rather than later.
okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you chose to relax watching our videos.
Yes. Well, Mr. Axbane was just saying he had done some chores today. So have I. I
Yeah,
made sure
she
that,
worked very hard.
yeah, cleared the living room. Oh my gosh. You know. So for some reason, I don't know, there's a lot of dust that collects in the living room. I have no idea why, you know. But yeah, dust the TV, dust the table. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, let me tell you guys down below, you're going to find a few links in regards to Irwin Greenberg, who I was telling you about. He was a tremendous teacher, a lot like there's another guy who I like a lot named as a teacher, uh, way before my time though, named Robert Henry. Now, Robert Henry, if you haven't heard of Robert Henry, there's a book called The Art Spirit. And his students, uh, what they did was he was such an inspiring lecturer, they took notes from his class and they made it into a book. It was something that he had no hand in other than giving the lectures. The students put it together, and it has. And he was an instructor in the 1800s, somewhere after the Civil War. He taught here in New York City, and the book is still in publication today. You know, it's I believe it's by Dover Publishers. They keep publishing the book. Again, it's something that can be found on Amazon, and he is just okay. Karen, grab. This is one of my copies. Let me get that.
Okay.
Show them. This is the book called The Art Spirit by Robert Henry, and it's not pictures really, but lectures by him. And you don't have to read this whole book from cover to cover. I just basically pick a page to start and I get into what's written, and it's really inspiring stuff that he has there, and very, very useful. Um, to the art student. Um, so it is just a great book that I have had since high school. And Greedy was a lot like um, like Robert Henry in that he was very inspiring to his students. And there's a link below where he has there's this thing called Greedy passed away, by the way, a while back, and there's a link below. There are a few links below regarding him. One is an article or a blog post that I had written long ago, shortly after he passed away, and I wrote it about him. And there's another link to another blog post that was written by the artist James Gurney regarding Greenberg um, and his watercolor work. And there's also a link to some of the quotes that Greeny had put together for his students called the Artist Primer that was on the internet for quite a bit now. It was somebody had put it up a few years ago, and people have been downloading it ever since. And it's just a great, it's just some words of wisdom. Some of them don't even have to do with art. It's just life in general, and that was really how he taught. Sometimes it was, art and life was kind of like the same thing, you know. Um, so when he taught about art, he taught about also a way in which he lived. You know? So I left those links on the bottom for anybody who's interested in learning more about uh, Irwin Greenberg. And like I said, we had that early morning paint group, and we met in the early morning. And there was so much fun to be a part of a group like that. Um, that just met to paint, and people who are serious about art and about learning art. And I kind of hope that this group would be something like that, this live stream, that we would have that same spirit of, of coming together for the purposes of being better artists. Um, and, and maybe I also talk about art, something that we can chat about, and share information about, you know. But I would encourage you. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. There's nothing there in terms of the links about Greenberg that require you to spend any money on anything. It's just information about a terrific teacher and artist, um, and about how he inspired a great many students to and it isn't even just about art. I remembered as an aside while I was in high school, he talked about there are students who took his class. I mean, we went to the High School of Art and Design, and he realized not everyone was going to be an artist, but he gave every single student, equal time. And he told me that the reason why he did that is because he knew that there were certain students there that would probably never become, and you can only say probably because you never know, but probably never become professional illustrators or artists, you know. But they would have had that moment in time where they would have struggled to do something beyond what they were capable of doing, and that would mean something to them for the rest of their lives. And that was what he wanted to bring to the students, whether they became successful artists or not. It was a memory that they were able to do something beyond themselves. You know. And I thought that was so great. because when you talk about uh, people like Robert Henry, that was something that he taught. That, as a matter of fact, art was not something that was just for a few people. You know, art was something that was that anybody can have what he called the art spirit. It was just a matter of doing something that was so interesting that you called attention to yourself and it made you interesting to the people around you.
Okay. Well, Mr. Axbane has said that nice. Looks like there's even some used copy of the Art Spirit for about $8.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever
Uh-huh.
you can get, it's a great inspirational book to have. I mean, I've had it since, like I said, since I was in high school,
Oh.
and not the same book. I say I worn the one I initially had down, but like this one is pretty worn down too. I have a fresh copy on my bookshelf as well. But I would encourage anyone to go ahead and buy that book. It would definitely be a benefit to you. Maybe what I let me what I had discussed with Karen was, you know, again about sharing more about art and about art history. Because you know what, one of the things that my art instructor from high school, Green, had excuse me, had um, instilled on me is this love of art books that I bought tons of art books ever since high school. Right, Karen?
Yep.
I got a ton of books on the shelf right now. And so a lot of things that I thought, hey, you know what? I can make this special by sharing that stuff, and we can talk about um, different artists and different artists. So maybe the next time I can have a discussion on, or we can have a discussion on Robert Henry, on his book, The Art Spirit. And that would be something that would be great to, you know, in addition to painting, just have something to talk about.
Okay. Well, Mr. Vic joins us. He says,
Hey,
"Greetings, everyone."
hey, Mr. Vic.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Vic. How are you? Uh-huh. And Axbane has said, Mr. Axbane says, wow, he's reading the reviews for the Art Spirit. And he says, I'm going to have to buy this book.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. I think I'm going to join you, Mr. Axbane. I'm interested in the book now that Gil talks about it so highly.
Yeah, it's really a great book. And you know what? To tell you the truth, it would be good for anyone in any endeavor as far as, you know, what you wish to do, because a lot of it is about discipline and inspiration. And, you know, I find those things not just in artists, or rather, let me just say, not just in visual artists. Um, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Ken Burns and his series about jazz. Great series on the PBS stations here, public television stations. And what he did was create a series about the history of jazz. And another thing that my wife can attest to, that that was something that I spent a lot of time viewing. You know, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I'm learning. I was just learning. I just find it inspiring that these musicians took their craft so seriously. I mean, they just absolutely let nothing get in the way of them perfecting their craft. And I find things like that inspiring.
Okay. Well, Mr. Axbane said, Gil, did you say you had some instructions from Robert
Henry?
Henry? Right.
No, no,
No,
he was
he lived much earlier.
earlier on. Yeah, he
Yeah.
lived like during the 1800s or something like that. I never met the guy, but I've read his books, and I've said that I've had his books since I've been buying that Art Spirit. I've always had a copy of it since high school.
Okay. Well, Mr. Axbane had said, I love the concept of momentum that Jose Trillo talks about. Once I've got momentum, where I'm finishing about 3 paintings a week, it's so much easier to keep going.
Okay.
Mhm.
I and the way I was taught and that I have stuck with is I draw and make an effort to draw and paint every day. That has always been something that I have stuck with. Now, there was a time in my life where I kind of gave up. Life got busy. It it just seemed like an impossible thing to pursue. Then after a time, I realized, I just gravitated back to it, like it was something that never left me. And and it was important for me to work every day at this, and that's me. You know, whatever someone decides for themselves, it's entirely up to you. My thing would be that I do this on a daily basis because that's what I enjoy doing. That's why I wake up in the morning, um, and it has nothing to do with whether or not I'm good at something. It has to do with what I'm passionate about,
Mhm.
and that's not to say that I'm more passionate than anybody else, or I'm better than anybody. I can't even say that, you know. But but it's just my journey. You know what I mean? It's just the way I choose to to conduct my journey.
Okay. Well, Mr. Vic says, today I'm getting over a bad cold. I do
Oh,
enjoy book reviews, so set the date. I just bought Henry, that's
Robert Henry, yeah, Robert
Henry
Henry.
on Kindle. So
Oh,
something to,
awesome.
yeah, so something to read while I cough up a lung. Okay.
You are funny. You know, I tell you, within that first chapter, or the first few paragraphs where he talks about what art is, and art being a signpost and all of that, you will find something inspiring.
Uh-huh.
I guarantee it.
Well, we have Gregor's with us. Hi,
Ah,
all.
okay.
Hi. Thanks for watching. Uh-huh. So Mr. Axbane said, that's good. I'm glad you came back to art. I love your art, Gil.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mr. Axbane said, uh, I did the same kind of thing too. I gave up on art for over a decade because I was too worried that I'd be a starving artist. But years later, I came back to art with a passion.
You know what? It's incredible. You know what? We are not the only ones. I have had friends who who went to art design with me, and everybody finds themselves at different places in life, and then I think eventually you gravitate back to the things that really mean a lot to you. I have a friend, Rick Mujica, who also went to art and design, and he, for a while, he also toured. I forgot many years ago. Depends on how old you are in the United States. Well, not just the United States. He was part of this troupe that traveled, uh, and they did like an off-Broadway show called Starlight Express, and that was all he. He really wanted to be an illustrator. He went to college. We both went to the same college. He was older than me though, and we went to Parsons School of Design. And what happened was that he eventually stopped the painting and just toured with this group and all over Europe. Starlight Express. They kind of like did this. All I remember were the commercials when I was younger, and they did like this roller skating thing, and I never knew what the story was about. But eventually, he came back and to the thing that he loved best, which was painting. He went back into doing illustration work. Was successful as an illustrator, did some beautiful work, and is now a fine artist. He's teaching art at the Art Students League. He's a fine artist. He just went back to the thing that was, in fact, his passion.
Okay. Well, Mr. Axbang said, sorry if I talk about myself too much. I do that sometimes. No, listen.
Not at all.
Not at all. We're here to chat. Let's chat.
Because you know what? If you don't talk about yourself, you're going to hear me talking about me, right? So I don't want to be the only one talking about themselves. Tell me something about you. I would love to hear something about you. This is. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that when I started this thing, right? I mean, I was doing these videos for a while here on YouTube. Initially, I had even no idea about monetization on YouTube and people making money and off of I don't think it's a bad idea. Don't get me wrong, but that wasn't why I initially came on. It was just another place to share art, and make videos on art and so forth. I am such a novice when it comes to social media, and I just can't figure it all out. What works, you know. Um, so far, the two things that have worked for me have been YouTube and my Patreon page. Those have been, and Facebook. Those have been the most successful things. So, I started this without even knowing what YouTube was all about, honestly. And that was years ago. And then it just started building on its own. And when I did this, when I made the decision to do these live streams every Saturday, I thought that it would give me an opportunity to spend time with the people who have been watching my videos. You know, at the same time, maybe find some new people. You know, so this is an opportunity for all of us to have a chat. Okay. Now, instead of trying to render things, I'm going to try to find and connect shapes, and then maybe go back into it and use color and light value to define them, these shapes, all kinds of shapes.
Mm.
What was that?
I think that's the water bottle I put down here.
Oh,
I don't know why it's popping.
well, that would be ice melting.
Yeah, but there was no ice in here. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I know we got lost in talking about Robert Henry, but I want to encourage you guys to go ahead and look at. I think what I called it down in the link below was Greenie's Primer, and I think you guys would find some great stuff in there that would be encouraging to any artist at whatever level, And like I said, sometimes, and I think when I say sometimes, it's just one or two of the comments were about life in general. Everything had to do with, everything else had to do with art and, studying art and encouraging people, uh, uh, artists at whatever level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's coming out real well. Yeah. Mr. Axbane agrees with me. He said, "Yeah, that looks beautiful, Gil."
Oh, thank you.
I don't know why this bottle of water keeps making noise. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, okay. Well, Mr. Axbane said you deserve more viewers, Gil. So I told folks on Twitter to swing by and say hello.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. Yes. Uh huh.
You know, Twitter is something else I have not been able to figure out. I'm just not too good on, like I said, on social media.
Uh, yeah. Well, we have a Charlotte Roberts with us. She
Okay.
said accent for us. Hello.
Oh, okay. Hello, Charlotte.
Yeah. Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah.
We're just having
So,
a.
Mr. Axe, well, I see that Charlotte called you Axe, but I'm going to say Axe Bane. Said, yeah.
So, what you might call it? Just to explain to Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah,
Yeah.
Charlotte Roberts.
Yeah, we are just doing draw along. So if you want, you can. I invite people to draw along using the reference we have here on the screen.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Well, I see Mr. Axbane. Wow. He says, Gil is freaking talented. He's seriously one of my favorite contemporary artists.
oh wow!
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's a lot to say.
Yes. And Charlotte says, amazing. I might have to pop on and off as I'm pet sitting. But this looks amazing so far. Okay.
Well, Charlotte, we're here every Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday at 3 o'clock, Eastern Standard Time. I did say 3 o'clock, right?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Uh-huh. So, we have Nautical D. Love the colors.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And Charlotte go, hey, hey. Okay. So we have a Herman Carter with us.
Oh, okay, Herman Carter. I know who he is.
Oh, you do?
From YouTube, yeah.
Oh, okay. He said, what's good, Gil? Hope all is well. I'm still thinking about joining your Patreon.
Oh, great.
I have some other finance to take care of.
Totally understandable.
Yeah, so I can at least be dedicated back to my art.
That is totally understandable.
Yeah. So, Charlotte, okay. She says, I'm afraid I'm not able to today. I guess she can't stay with us today, but maybe another time.
Charlotte, we are glad you dropped by.
Yeah, and she says, oh, yeah, I'm in London. Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it's nearly 9 p.m. Yeah, okay. I know someone that I met in the United States briefly for some time, and her family originally is from Africa, but lived in London for a while. Yeah, I was thinking, did she tell me London or Paris? But I believe she lived in London.
Well, she had a British accent.
Uh-huh.
So,
Mm, yes. Mhm. So I see you changed the angle of
You
the.
know what? That's more because I'm pushing this thing and
Oh,
I'm painting. I'm not paying attention to it. I'm glad you said something because
okay. Okay. Well, Charlotte says London can be a beautiful city. Um,
I believe
uh,
it.
okay. Were you in London years
No,
ago?
no,
No.
I was in Paris and Germany.
Oh, okay.
I was in France and I went to Mannheim and also Heidelberg.
Okay. Uh,
It was many years ago,
yeah.
before we were married.
Oh, before. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh. Okay. Nautical says he's from London and he agrees it is beautiful. Nautical D. Okay. You know what? I would love to travel. I would love to really see different cities that you always hear about.
Hmm.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, I was.
After COVID and things are, I guess we're gonna call it a new normal. You know, when things change, then maybe we could think about traveling.
mm, I've done a bit of traveling in my life.
You did. You know what? I have only one time I traveled outside of the United States.
Well, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? Even within the United States, the United States is very big.
It,
And one of the
mm,
things that gave me the appreciation of how big the United States is that when I was in Europe, like I said, I was with my brother. We were in Mannheim, in Germany, and my brother said, "Hey, let's go to Paris." So we got in the car and went to Paris, and we drove. I don't know how many hours, but if you drive for 3 hours, you are going to pass. You could pass a number of countries.
uh-huh.
If you drive for 3 hours in Europe, you can pass a number of countries. You
Okay.
know, so we was in. Who did we pass by? I think we believe we passed by Belgium. We were in Germany, and
Mm-hmm.
then we went to France, right?
Oh, okay.
And and in the United States, you can drive for
Um,
3 hours and still be in the
be in the
same
same
state.
state. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Because we live in New York. You go upstate New York and it'll be 3, 4 hours and you're still in New York.
yeah. Or you
Yeah.
can drive in another direction for 3 hours and you just crossed over into another state.
Uh,
You know, well, I mean, New York
but
and New Jersey are very close together,
yeah. Yeah.
so
You
that's
can.
easy to do.
Yeah.
But beyond,
Depending on the direction you're going.
yeah,
Yeah.
but beyond Jersey, there's Pennsylvania,
Well, Pennsylvania is
Delaware,
really to the west of New York, right?
right? Wherever I'm just saying, besides Jersey, in terms of
Okay.
a longer ride,
Uh-huh.
there's Pennsylvania, there's Delaware.
There's Delaware, there's Maryland, and there's Washington,
Well,
D.C.
right,
I'm
right.
sorry.
Washington. No, no, no. I'm
Uh,
just saying Washington D.C. is not a state.
no, it's a district.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, but before you get to Washington D.C., what do you got? You got to what's in between Washington D.C. and New York? There's got to be at least one other state. You have,
Really?
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm guessing Virginia.
Okay.
No, no. But I thought you'd get to Washington, D.C. before you get to Virginia.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Herman Carter says, I've noticed you don't do a lot of tonal grades and just jump in with color. That's my issue. I even did color theory in college. I'm just not patient enough to focus on correct color.
Well,
Laugh out loud.
you see the thing is, the grays you won't use in a medium like wash. Um, you would use, and I think you're talking about what you call a grisaille painting, and you would do that with something like oil painting. You can even do that with digital, you know. But with and I've done that. But with gouache, it's something totally different. I wouldn't do it with gouache, and I'm not saying that you can't. I just don't imagine. I couldn't imagine why, you know. Um, but with oil paint, I don't paint with acrylic, so someone is going to have to chime in on the acrylic. Um, because the method to grisaille is you do the grisaille, which is it's a value painting, black and white with grays, right? And when you do the grisaille, once the grisaille dries, you put you do glazes of oil paint, thin glazes of oil paint in color, and then you add to the paint there.
Uh, okay, well, Mr. Vic, you were talking earlier about traveling, and you had mentioned that you traveled to, what you said, Paris
For
and
me,
Germany, yeah, before you got married.
yeah.
So he said, that's what I call the sad years before you were married. That's right, Mr. Vic, you got it. I'm just teasing. So Mr. Vic said he had lived in Florida and drove to Texas. It was 9 hours before he
Wow.
even left Florida. Okay, yeah. So he said DC is in Virginia, he thinks.
Mhm.
Okay.
9 hours. It's a lot of driving.
So Herman Carter said laugh out loud, and Mr. Axbay said ha ha. When we're talking about the sad years before you were married.
I, I'm almost afraid to tell me of the joke it reminds me of.
What joke?
There's a joke.
What joke?
There's a joke. There was an old cartoon where I think Freud is talking to someone in a coffee shop, and they mentioned something. If I can remember it right, they mentioned something to the effect that, oh, so you was married for 5 years, and the guy responded, no, it was 2 years, but it seems like five.
That's the joke?
That's the joke.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know that wasn't going to go over well. I didn't make the joke up, though.
Okay, so Mr. Herman Carter, oh, he says, I wish I was married, laugh out loud. I'm probably too old now. I don't think anybody is ever too old. I mean, I've read about or seen stories in the news of people that were in their 90s and had were once boyfriend and girlfriend, married different people, lost their spouse, and hooked up again with uh, former boyfriends or girlfriends that got married. So I don't know if anybody's ever too old.
Or
Mm.
that could just be where you need two welfare check, two, not welfare, I'm sorry, two Social Security checks to make up the rent. And that's a bad joke. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend anybody.
No, it just wasn't funny. Okay.
Who said that?
No, I'm saying it. Oh, Mr. Axberry, he said no, DC isn't in Virginia, but it's close. Okay. I'm in Southwest Virginia, so if I go northeast, I hit Maryland first, then DC. Okay, you're in Southwest Virginia. If you go northeast, okay, you hit Maryland first and then DC. Okay. Okay, Mr. Vic, the drive was from Florida to Mexico. Okay. Okay. Mr. Vic says the Spanish version is better. I have been married to 20 years, but it feels like 5 minutes underwater. Under the water. Okay. So Herman Carter says, right, laugh out loud, it's true. And Mr. Axman said, laugh out loud. Everybody's laughing right now. Mr. Vic, I say Gil sticks to painting and leave the jokes to me.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Wow. We have people with a sense of humor. That's good. That makes, you know what? That makes this Saturday paint or draw along just that much fun. You know, just that much fun.
Yeah, I remembered when I was in high school. Part of the thing with that early morning class is that we would tell some of the worst jokes you would ever hear on the planet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
But we had a lot of fun.
Mm. Wow, Gil, the painting looks really good.
Thank you. Okay, so let me put a shirt in and stuff before I go on. There's still a lot to work on in regards to the face,
Uh-huh.
but I want to get his shirt in here.
You want to get the shirt in. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a beautiful job on the face.
Thank you. He's got a green. And his shirt is more of a blue green, but this will do for now.
Okay. Well, Herman Carter says, yes, it's rough out here. Some people don't have good attitudes these days. You really don't want to communicate. So it's rare to find like-minded people these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I just, hear in the news that people get into skirmishes and then they're pulling out weapons. It just doesn't make sense. Mm. Mm. So Mr. Carter says now, wow, very supportive of Gil. You hit the jackpot, buddy. And Mr. Vic, I can never get past the sketch stage of the drawing. What would you recommend?
Um, you mean if you mean as far as painting, um, one of the things that you can do is, like I said, I did the drawing initially at the beginning of this, and I realized that, you know what, I there's just too much detail to start off with. So I wanted to block it in, almost disregard. I used the drawing for placement, but I disregarded all those little details, and I looked, tried to look like I did this quick sketch, just about a minute. It took me about 30 seconds, right? Where I just wanted to have a guideline as far as the big areas, to block in. And so as long as you're not looking at the details, you don't have to start with a drawing. You can start with paint. And when we painted in that early morning painting class that I was talking about, um, I never, I never started a drawing before I painted. I always went straight ahead and painted kind of alla prima, which is like all at once. That was the way we were taught to paint, and so I did it without a drawing. And it's only later on that I started using this drawing. And but I'm perfectly comfortable in painting without the drawing, and and that'll get you in the mindset of looking at the big areas of light and dark, and not at details. Which sometimes you heard the expression, you can't see the trees. I mean, you can't, I always say that backwards. You can't see the forest for the trees, because you're paying attention to all the details, and you can't appreciate the whole thing at once. And doing away with the drawing, you might want to do a sketch beforehand, to get the placement and stuff like that. Or you just, say, like you're doing the self portrait, right? And you have a mirror propped up in front of you or to the side of you or wherever you have it, and you have your canvas. You don't have to draw on your canvas. You can go directly to painting, if you want to, and and from there, you know, um, develop the painting. You know, so that's a way of getting past the initial sketch stage. Just go directly to the painting.
Mhm. I noticed that you have the lighter green on the shoulders, that indicates the reflection of light.
Just barely. I'm not really getting into it right now.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just kind of a placement. Part of when you're painting in gouache is that you want to begin to cover the canvas, or the surface with the paint, so that you have something to build on, and you can always come back later and change the color. I
Okay.
mean, it's good for the initial layer, but when you go back over again, you want to be as accurate as you possibly can.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay. Well, Herman Carter says this was nice. I will hope to check you again soon. I'm going to eat my dinner and prepare for my late night 11 to 7 shift. Oh, okay.
okay, well,
Appreciate the art, Gil. And later, YouTube family.
okay,
Peace.
enjoy your meal.
Yes. And a safe shift.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
especially that. trying to.
Mhm. Okay. So we have Richard Duart. Do you listen to music while you paint? If if so, any type to set the tone mood.
Well, I listen to a great deal of music, and it just depends what I'm in the mood for. You can call my taste in music eclectic because there's a lot of different types of music that I listen to. So most of all, most of all, I listen to R&B. That's my favorite type of music. I would listen to jazz. I would listen to rock. I would listen to uh, um, different types of Latin music. I particularly like salsa music because that is the music that I grew up on. That even though I did not myself play it when I was younger, that was the music that my family listened to. So I grew up on a lot of that. I listen. Did I say classical?
I don't know.
I said classical music, jazz music, rock music, Latin music, uh, um, R&B, funk, just different types. And so when I listen to something, uh, as far as while I'm working, it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. And I'm usually in the mood for something that I grew up on or something older. I get very nostalgic when listening to music. And so I will listen to, like I was 70s, 80s kid. That's hard to ever, right? I don't know what that was. Okay. I was
Okay.
70s, 80s. And so uh, that is what I grew up on, the
Okay.
type of music from then. You can say something, Karen?
Well, no, I was just going to tell you Nautical D had chimed in. He said, I've got to go, but it was fun watching your process. We'll buy you a coffee and give a follow if I can find the link.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Uh-huh. So,
Thank you for buying us a coffee.
yeah.
And so I can tell you guys right now, I'm not going to finish this painting before this live stream is over. But what I will do is like I always do, uh, once the painting is done, I will post it on my YouTube channel in the community page, community tab, and you'll be able to see it there. On my community tab, you'll often see either posts regarding the next live stream or an image that's the finished painting from the previous live stream. You gonna say something?
No, no, I was just going to tell you what Mr. Vic said, but are you finished?
Tell me what Mr. Vic said.
Oh, okay. Well, we were talking about music. You were talking about
Okay.
setting the tone for the music. So he says the early morning wake up music at my house was Grand Combo Johnny Ventura.
Okay.
So it's in the DNA.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with Johnny
Yeah,
Ventura?
I'm familiar with Johnny Ventura. My favorite, my all-time favorite is Ruben Blades.
Oh, okay, yes.
And you know that.
Yeah.
You know, I could listen to just about anything by him. And that's a personal favorite. My family played a lot of different music um, from different eras, like the salsa and all of that. That's more of what my older brother listened to. Um, my mother and my father listened to music a lot older than that. You know, you hear people like Daniel Santos and Odilio Gonzalez, Chuito de Bayamon, people like that. And for those uh, who are not familiar with that music, that's more or less the music that my parents listened to. But then I would also listen to stuff that they never heard of. You know, I listen to jazz, and I love a lot of the old stuff.
Your parents didn't listen to jazz?
No, that's not their music. That was, it was. You got to remember, my mom was born in 1923. My father was born in 1913. They were like 10 years apart. So they're from a generation that, and also I know jazz was, um, was really all over the place then, but they did not grow up on the mainland in the United States. They both grew up in Puerto Rico, and back then, even up until like the 70s, 80s, whatever was happening in the United States, what I found that on the island, it was like several years behind. You know.
Okay. Well, Mr. Vic says his favorite is Gilberto Santa Rosa
Yeah,
for
I know
salsa.
who he is.
For salsa.
And as far as listening to more American music, I I love to hear a lot of singing. My wife will, you can tell them who I like.
Oh,
To tell them who I like.
Natalie Cole.
Yes.
Natalie Cole.
Natalie Cole is always a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a male group.
Oh, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes. That's the stuff I grew up on. That's what I love. You know, so, and how about if you were to say male performer?
Male performer. You know what? I don't know. I think there's a few. I think you like Al Green.
Yes.
I think you like Nat King Cole. No, not as much.
I know I like Nat King Cole.
Uh-huh. And
But
yeah.
you can see how my taste varies from just those two selections.
Yeah.
You know, let me see. Okay, so let me I was gonna say, so who was my crush as a kid?
Oh, Shaka Khan.
So I can tell you, well, I can off the bat, I can tell you two of my wife's favorite performers: Patti LaBelle
Yeah,
and Stephanie Mills,
Mills. Yeah.
the Whiz Kid.
Yeah. I'm not going to do a rendition of it because I don't want you to laugh. So, okay. Well, Mr. Axbane, he said, well, I went ahead and bought a copy of The Art Spirit. Thanks for the recommendation, Gil.
Oh, great! I'm pretty sure of it, but let me just say, I hope you enjoy it and have a great time reading that.
Uh, yeah, you know what, Mr. Axman, I'm going to join you. I think what I'm going to do for the week, I'm going to pick up that book and read into it. Just really get a perspective, you know. So I do look at Gil's art books from time to time, but more I look at the paintings or the drawings, you know. So Mr. Vic, going back to musical artists, he said Tony Bennett is one of the best.
Okay.
Okay, he just recently retired. I believe he's 95 now. Uh-huh. I grew up on Channel 11 News, New York channel, so any music from Abbott and Costello.
I can still remember the theme song to their show.
Oh yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I remember it. So Mr. Vic says he likes Billie Holiday, Run DMC, Heavy D, and the Boys. Okay. Yeah, there's a variety. There's jazz and there's rap. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His crush was Janet Jackson. My mom would get mad when I would get close to the TV when she was on Good Times. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So.
We still watch Good Times here. Every now and then.
Yeah, we do. Well, Gil doesn't enjoy it as much as I do.
No,
I still enjoy it.
No, I for me, when it comes to television, I'm more sci-fi, so I get into the Trekkie stuff.
Star Trek, yeah. We watch. We watch The Next Generation. Do we do Discovery?
No, because I don't want to pay for another TV channel.
Okay. So yeah. Yeah, but The Next Generation, oh boy.
Yeah. Even though I've watched the first episode of Discovery and it was great.
Uh-huh.
But and I've watched the first episode of Picard, but beyond that I would have to pay for an extra channel, and I just don't think it's fair.
Okay, Mr. Axman, I honestly don't own enough art books, considering I'm a dang artist.
A dang artist.
Yeah, D-A-N-G, dang. Yeah. Well, you could always learn something, Mr. Axbane. Mr. Vic, I have watched every Trek series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I've gone as far as Enterprise.
Okay.
Enterprise.
So there's the original, The Next Generation. What's it with Captain Janeway? What is that?
That's Voyager.
Voyager. Okay, I was saying Discovery, but I meant Voyager.
Oh, okay, Voyager.
Voyager.
No, Discovery is a brand new one.
Yeah. So I think somebody was trying to hook me up with seeing some of the series. He was recording it.
That's the wrong color for that one.
So, Mr. Fitz, yeah, I'm a nerd of the highest order. No, that doesn't make you a nerd.
Hey, look, I'm a nerd. We wear it with pride.
Oh, really? Y'all
Yeah.
think you're
Let me
nerds?
not say nerd. We're geeks.
Okay.
We geek out on this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
You know,
So I guess I'll claim that I'm a geek too when it comes to Star Trek.
and we wear that with pride.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. It is now 4:27, so I'm going to hold off right here. You can see that I have a lot to do in order to finish this. But when I'm done with it, like I said, I will post it on the community tab in my YouTube page. Other than that, please go ahead, look at the links. Like I said down below, you'll find some links regarding Irwin Greenberg. One of them is to a blog post that I had done after he passed away, and I talked about the things that I wanted to say that like I was at I guess it was a wake for him, and where a bunch of his students gathered, and I wanted to go up and speak. I was surprised that afterwards, Max Ginsburg, who was there, the other instructor, was expecting me to come forward. He said, "I thought you were going to come forward and say something," but I was kind of nervous about it. So I put it all in my blog post, and there's a link below regarding Greenberg and my history there at the High School of Art and Design. Also, there's a post by James Gurney regarding Irwin Greenberg and his watercolors, as well as Greenberg's primer, and just advice to give to art students. All of these you can, it's stuff that's readily available online. So it's just a link to where it's at, So nothing to download or anything like that, but a wealth of information that I believe you'll find inspiring and uplifting as far as art is concerned. So just check out those links below. We will be back here next Saturday to do this all over again, and look to my YouTube uh, um, community tab where I will post the finished painting. Okay, so enjoy your week. Have a safe week. Okay.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Okay. And thank you for coming.